What do you do if you're an astronaut in a space shuttle and the thruster sticks and all of a sudden the space shuttle starts rotating on its axis and it starts gaining speed as it turns? And you know that you have a stuck thruster, but how do you shut it off? Well, in this episode, we're going to show you how to do that. And the way that you do that is with this switch up here, which is the aft reaction control system helium pressure switch. And when you click, it takes you to the aft reaction control system helium pressure A and B switches. Now, what these switches do is they permit the helium source pressure to flow to the propellant tank. The switch positions are open, GPC, and close. So this switch right here and this switch right here, the A and B, have open, GPC, and close. So open opens the valve, allowing the helium pressure to go to the fuel or oxidizer, whichever switch is open, and it all in close. That is where we say, or was a solution for our problem. Well, we had a thruster that was stuck. We close the switches here, and it stops the pressure to the fuel and the oxidizer, so the pressure is not able to push the oxidizer and the fuel to the thruster. And then we have a GPC here. Now, when the switch is positioned at GPC, the pair of valves can be closed automatically upon command from the orbiter computer. So GPC stands for General Purpose Computer, and that is where the computer is controlling it. And that's when you're using the your stick in front of you to maybe move the nose of the shuttle left or right. Well, when you move the stick, it tells the GPC to, all right, let's open the helium pressure for that thruster and push the oxidizer and fuel towards that thruster that we want to fire. So the open-close position permits manual control of those valves. So we have basically two ways to control it. One is manually, where we physically put that switch in open or close. And then there's automatically, where we put it in GPC, General Purpose Computer, and then the computer will decide when to open or close those valves. So that's what we have for this week. If you stay to the end, again, I have a special for you. But next we are going to go into the schematics, and that is for our Patreon subscribers, even the free ones. And if you stay a little bit longer, you're a Patreon subscriber, even a free one, free one, you go to the schematics. If you are paying, we're going to go a little bit deeper like we normally do, give you a little treat on the system. So if you are a paying subscriber, and it's all free, if you do just for the schematics and you click on schematics, it takes you to the schematic page. Now, here we had the helium pressure and the dual regulators. Now, this is where we're going to open up valves, as you see here. And if you see, this is for the aft reaction control system. So you have your valves, and it goes through the quad check valves, and then that goes to the fuel or oxidizer tank, and that is going to push the fuel and the oxidizer further into the system here for each one of those tanks. Now, one of the things, if you looked on, let's see, aft, here we are, aft left and right, as you can see, you have two ways to get that helium through that valve. And what you have, this helium tank here and this helium tank here, it says fuel and oxidizer, but if you look on the schematics, either one of those can go into the system to pressurize the oxidizer and the fuel. So you actually can get the helium from each side. So that is sort of like a safety backup that if you can't get it from this tank, your backup is this tank. And that will take you down through here, but this is later on. So we are discussing this switch right here, and hopefully you've got a full background on it. Now, if you would like to go deeper with us, that's for our paying subscriber, and what that and what that costs you is a cup of coffee a month. That's right, for $4. And if you join, we have now until July 20th, which is when we land, when the anniversary of landing on the moon happens. If you sign up now, you will be put on the list that I have of supporters for us that is going to be linked to a time capsule that's going to the moon. That's right. So if you sign up right now for $5 a month, which is a cup of coffee at Starbucks a month, and and that's being a Patreon paying subscriber, then
is the book, Flying the Space Shuttle, A Pilot's Guide to Orbital Flight, Digital Autopilots, and Spacecraft Navigation. Now, this book is actually, the text itself has been sent into outer space as part of a documented test of electronic information integrity in the space environment. And this is the original source manuscript whose text was intentionally selected, prepared, and transported beyond Earth's atmosphere as part of a documented spaceflight data integrity experiment. So you can actually check out this book here and see it. You can read a sample. If you come down here, read a sample. This will be what you see. So you can actually go through. What I have in here is the first chapter, and it is going to explain what the instruments are on the space shuttle and tell you what each component is. Now, the first chapter goes over very quick summary of what the instrument is. If you go into the book further, you can see on the chapters here that you go into the parts, the aerometers, the rate indicator, all of that you will be able to look at in the book. But right up to here, you get to display on, or you get to view on the Amazon site, and the text that we put onto the spacecraft and launched was all the way down to chapter 4. That's as much information as I could squeeze into my space that I was allowed to into the satellite, or into the rocket that went into outer space. And this is my certificate that tells it that it went into flight. Now, on October 27th is when I loaded it onto the rocket, and it went up into space later in November. And one of the great things down here is if you scan it with your computer, you can see the text that was actually sent into outer space, and it'll be identical to the book, except there might, is in the text, it says test flying. It's my first book in space, test flying the space shuttle. Now, the reason I did that is to document. So, to the author's knowledge, this marks the first publicly documented case in which the original manuscript of an Amazon Kindle ebook served as the primary text source for a recorded outer space transportation prior to its publication. Well, this was the source document, so this is before the publication of the next book that I'll have out. This is the original source document. And again, right here, if you click on read a sample, you can actually look and see the contents of the book even before you buy it. And it goes over Chapter 1, the primary flight display, which is basically an overview of what the astronauts see when they're flying the shuttle. And it's pretty similar to what they fly on SpaceX or the Artemis rocket that goes into outer space that is going to go to the moon coming up in February of 2026. So if you want to see that, you can come down here, or you can see and read about those instruments here.